Okay, good evening, everyone. We're going to get started. For those that don't know me, my name is Michael Kubiniec. I'm a member of the Iredell-Statesville School Board. This is not a school board function meeting. This is just my own separate town hall meeting. And I'm not representing the school board in any way. I'm not speaking for the school board or the district. This is just a educational town hall that I regularly hold to meet with people in the community and to talk about important topics of interest. And tonight, we're going to talk about screen addiction. So I wanted to time this presentation because I knew that the school district is going to be asking us, meaning the board, to spend some more money on tech refresh, meaning to buy more iPads and laptops. I knew that was going to come sometime. And in fact, it's going to be discussed next, November 3rd, at our November 3rd and November 10th meeting. And they're going to be asking us to spend close to $5 million on more iPads and laptops. And so I wanted to educate myself on screen addiction, and I wanted to educate the community because it's a lot of money to spend on this one-to-one device per student that I think we've been sold a little bit of bill of goods from the COVID time that maybe not every student needs to have a device in their hands at school all day long. So since I'm not the true expert on this topic, I just know enough to be dangerous. I invited Brady Drummond Ryan, who is an ambassador for an organization called ScreenStrong, and he'll tell you all about that organization, a nonprofit organization that deals with children that have screen addiction. But he is from Watertown, New York, and he has a bachelor's in English from Binghamton University and a master of social work from Florida State University. He has more than 40 years in direct sales, fundraising, public speaking, member of Toastmasters, marketing, training, and development, and he's spent over 20 years in a loan officer for residential mortgage lending and commercial real estate. He's also an ambassador to the Charlotte Area Chamber of Commerce, and he has spent more than 60 years in scouting and is an Eagle Scout, a member of the National Eagle Scout Association, and recipient of the Outstanding Eagle Scout Award. And he's currently a Scoutmaster for Troop 7 in Pineville. And a couple years ago, he was recognized as Boy Scout Leader of the Year. He lives in Charlotte with his daughter Lydia and has been married to his wife Myra for 43 years. So Brady is an ambassador for ScreenStrong, and he's here to share information about screen time with you all tonight. So take it away,
Thank
Brady.
you. Appreciate it. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Oh, one more thing. When it comes time for some question and answers, I'll pass around a little microphone so that we can have it recorded. So I'm having this meeting recorded since some people asked me to record the meeting because they can't be here. So I'll be able to show the meeting posted somehow.
Great. Thank you, Michael. Is there a typo on that 43 years of marriage? Because it seemed a lot longer. I don't know what went on there. Anywho, well, I'm glad to be here. I met the founder of ScreenStrong about 10 years ago. And just to give you a little bit of background there, I'm going to try my technology. What is ScreenStrong? About 10 years ago, Melanie's son Adam flunked out of college after gaming for a year. And this wasn't your Donkey Kong or Pac-Man. This was the kind of gaming where you have to play with your friends and you have to have internet access and you play 24/7. She had no idea. She's a nurse. She has her bachelor's in nursing. No idea that it was happening, that he was basically sick. All he wanted to do was game. He didn't want to go to his classes, didn't want to go to school. And really there were no, is that locked or can we let her in? Yeah, let her in. Had no idea where to go or what to do. And so this is about 2015. It wasn't until 2018 the World Health Organization recognized gaming as an addiction and put it in the DSM-3 or 4 or 5, whatever it is now. So I had the opportunity to meet Melanie. Went to one of her first fundraisers as she got the organization going. Was very active in bringing her in, trying to mesh that partnership with scouting, because scouting is one solution to screen time, and I'll tell you more about that as we go along. But my troop has been as many as 25. We're down to 7 at the moment. But I think back to my own involvement. As soon as I went to that first presentation, I came back, told the boys, okay, no more cell phones on the trips. No more. We're going to camp. We're going to get to know each other when we travel. And they were all like, Mr. Brady, we can do it. We can trust us. We know what we're doing, right? These are teenage boys now, right? So they know what they're doing. They know everything. At the end of that camp, a week of camp, they came back, and now we're like, Senior Patrol leader looked at me and said, you were right. I'm sorry. We could not handle it. The boys were up all night. They couldn't get up to go to merit badge classes the next day. They were cranky and ugly. So it's been a constant battle. I present to different scout groups. Melanie has come out on a number of occasions and presented, and clearly scouting is a way to get them off the screens. And often I'll end a camp out and look around us. So you see all this? There's no app for all this. We're talking trees, birds, sun, rain. There's no app. So she's been at it ever since. And one of the ways she was able to expand this economically is to get volunteers like myself to come out, become ambassadors, get screened, get knowledgeable about the program and what you can do to get involved yourself. Let me just take a quick poll. How many folks have children under the age of 5 in the room? Anybody under the age of 10? All right. Or grandchildren? All right, there we go. Bring them on. Middle schoolers. Yeah, okay. Middle schoolers and high schoolers. Okay, you're in the right place. I'm in the right place. We're going to talk about teenagers and younger. So their mission statement is empowering families to prevent screen problems and reclaim their kids from toxic screens, social media, video games, and pornography. I'll be talking about all 3. I'm going to highlight these. We hope to get you out of here by 8. I've got 82 slides. I promise not to read every single one of them. Try to hit the highlights and then open up for as many questions, because I want to know what you need to know versus what I know. So, what's the big deal with screens? Why do we have a problem with screens? Well, managing screen time is a challenge. How many right now are having challenges managing screen time with their kids, either on gaming, on the phone, right, and possibly discord in the family as a result? Okay, so according to the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, on average, children ages 8 to 12 in the United States spend 4 to 6 hours in front of a screen a day using screens. Teens spend up to 9 hours. When you consider it takes 10,000 hours to learn a new skill, they're going to be, if they're doing 300, 400, 500 hours a year, they're going to be behind the 8 ball when it comes time to go to school or move on from there. These are really hard to see, but I'll just hit a couple of them. This one really strikes. Social media companies made 11 billion. That's billion, not million, not 1,000. 11 billion in U.S. ad revenue from minors. So of course they want to keep them on screens. They want to keep them in front of games, okay? There's money to be made at the detriment of your child, which I'll share a little bit more about that. So New York City is suing a handful of social media networks, alleging their platforms are designed to keep their kids hooked. They are. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. Florida House of Representatives approves bill to ban social media for kids under 16. Okay. Lamont state leaders to discuss new policy to tackle cell phone disruption in school. Minnesota Middle School bans student cell phones during the school day. Quail Hollow Middle in Charlotte, I was there recruiting for scouts, and they made the announcement, no cell phones in the school, no cell phones in the class, leave them home, don't bring them to school. And that's my policy when we travel with scouts. Leave them home, I'll take them away if you bring them. Of course, they bring them. So take them away. Let's do something else. So let's focus a little bit about the child brain. Really, childhood, the thing with the brain, it develops from the back forward. And if that gets interrupted in any way, those developmental stages don't occur. And I'll share a little bit more about that here. Basically, their brain is under construction. All right, so they're learning, they're still learning, they're developing. They are not, that brain is not fully formed till, anybody? Age? 25. Thank you, you've heard it, yeah. You've heard this story before. A little scary, isn't it? Mine might have taken a little longer, I don't know. So really, yes, 25 years to maturity. Check out the brain. Age 5, everything's firing on all cylinders. And as we grow, those neurons, pathways develop, and the stuff they're good at continue, and the stuff they're not interested in or they aren't good at, they don't continue. And as I said, it matures from back to front, from less complicated to more complicated skills. The frontal cortex is the most complex part of the brain and the last to fully mature. And what's in the frontal cortex? Decision making, reasoning, problem solving. That's kind of important, right? Controlling urges, impulse control. You know, when they go off the handle when you tell them no, right? Thinking ahead. Oh my God. It's like, you know. See, I go through this every Monday night. My scouts have to run the troop. They have to plan the meeting, all right? And as I tell them, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, okay? Sometimes that means something and sometimes it doesn't. So, why do insurance rates go down after they turn 25? Brain's more developed. They can drive better. They're better at it. They don't speed. They don't text, hopefully text and drive. So, oh, okay, that's interesting. Let's see. Okay. Back over here. Yeah. So, what activities help the brain? Creativity, right? Exercise, artistic, anything creative, drawing, writing, reading. It's repetition, and as everything, they're like dirt roads being paved. The more they use those pathways, the better they get, and the stronger those pathways get. And they're there to help them, as they go along. The scary thing, this is one of the scariest things about screens to me, is a little thing called neural pruning. Go ahead and write that one down. If you don't use it, you lose it. So if the brain's developing from back to front, and all the fun activities in the back, right? The easy stuff, thumbs on a, right? Thumbs, and yeah, gaming, all that. So, these connections are growing throughout their life. And they get really active as a kid because they're learning everything. At 3 years, they're really very active, but then they slow down at age 15. So neural pruning is the, give it the official title here. It's the process of reorganizing and removing neural pathways that are not being used. So they are eliminated as their efficiency decreases. So that's probably the scariest thing. They're really hard to get back, So that's one of the things we're really concerned about. It becomes what it does. So the more things they do that are active, creative, delaying gratification, et cetera, they get better at it as they grow older. Another fun fact. Gaming produces dopamine. It's a natural drug in the body. It's a necessary neurochemical that allows us to feel pleasure or emotional satisfaction. It motivates us to continue doing the things that bring us pleasure. It's a feel-good chemical. Another feel-good chemical? It's cocaine. This is not cocaine, by the way. Mike, just a little example. I'm all about props, okay? So when you're letting your kid game, you like giving them a bag of cocaine because it feels good. There's the gentleman I heard speak the first time I learned about ScreenStrong, I was a middle school guidance counselor. And two things were really perplexing him. Teenagers were coming in that were being treated for ADD-HD. And he knew for a fact that ADD-HD really begins earlier, like at age 7. So it didn't make any sense that these teenagers were suddenly being diagnosed and they can't sit still and they can't listen. But part of the problem is teachers are boring, right? Who's the kids in the room? Yes, right? They talk, Charlie Brown, wah, 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 huh? That's not fun. That's not fun to listen to. So that was part of the issue. It was more fun to be on a screen, more fun to be on a game, rather than listening to an adult ramble on about something they may or may not have to use in their lifetime. So it's okay. A little bit goes a long way. Let me put it that way. So that is, they crave screen time because the dopamine levels are jumping up during gaming. And they got to get that fixed. And it's low skill, high reward. And that's a real challenge. So as I mentioned, I'll play a quick video here. Let's see. I think maybe. Sorry, I never checked volume on this thing. Do we have sound? That should be loud enough. Okay. Bear with me. We're not. Okay. I'll leave it at that. As I mentioned, 2008. I do want to make sure I have some volume on this thing. Gaming was entered in as something that needed to be studied further. And then it was announced that it was causing addictions. So, there it is. Thank you.
Includes internet gaming disorder as a condition requiring further study. And Dr. David Rosenberg is doing just that.
The internet can be a wonderful servant, but it's a cruel and crippling master.
Right here.
Where literally the brain gets hijacked. And what we see is major problems with executive functioning, how to make good decisions.
We don't really hear about it in this country. In fact, we have a pretty robust and loud population saying there's no such thing.
A big part of that really is semantics because there are symptoms. Internet addiction clearly exists, but there's always an underlying cause.
Josh is getting a functional MRI as part of a new study by Dr. David Rosenberg. His theory, yet to be proven, is that excessive gaming changes brain activity. These triplets are in the study too.
Turn it off now.
Stop, Mom.
We're still playing.
I said I'm gonna watch this, and I'm gonna go play outside with Josh. I'm gonna go play outside with Josh.
That's Noah. You can see why his mom says gaming has more of a hold on him than on his brother and sister. These are the triplets' brain scans. 2 are typical, but Noah's is not. Dr. Rosenberg highlighted areas in red he says represent brain activity involving memory, attention, and decision-making.
Noah's is almost completely gray.
But now look at Noah's brain after 3 weeks unplugged at summer camp.
He's gone from being barely lit up to being highly.
He's highly lit up. Yeah.
Now for Josh's results.
This is a 14-year-old child who has rather severe internet addiction. There should be much more activity.
There should be more red.
There should be more red.
What is it telling you?
That's telling us that he's having more difficulty performing higher level functioning, that his executive function is severely impaired, and compared to others who don't have internet addiction, he's less able to process, his brain conductor isn't working properly.
A couple days later, Josh has a follow-up brain scan. Dr. David Rosenberg shows us the results.
Wow. What you can see here is, this is an oh wow effect.
Same boy.
Same boy.
Before treatment, after treatment. What is that telling you?
He was completely shut down. When we talked with him here, he was exuberant. A different child.
So what's it take to keep the brain healthy? I know, scary stuff, right? I'm trying not to frighten you too much. More sleep, more music, nature. Big one on nature, okay? Keep the outing and scouting. free play, language development, handwriting, reading, creativity. Tapping on a screen, we'll talk a little bit about that. We don't have time. Just so you know, I hope to spend about an hour with this and maybe a little over, and then really open it up for questions and all that. We've got some handouts too. You're welcome to take with you as well. So the big one, exercise and movement, is just, enhances learning. It improves memory, used as a treatment for ADHD. So we know these things, and there's no reason not to take advantage of them. And that's one of the ways we can start to turn the tide on screens, but it's going to take them getting off the screen, okay? It's kind of like it's hard to get off, recover from alcohol if somebody keeps giving you a drink, all right? And it's just that way. And the thing too that's scary about all this is the detachment from family. It's they're into the game, they're into their buddies who are into the game. They're, one of the scout leaders, his younger boy was in the troop, and talked to him about getting his older son in. He said, well, we're trying to decide, Said, well, what'd you finally decide? Well, he was really feeling left out because all his friends were playing Fortnite. Come to that in a minute too. So we got him a gaming, got him a Fortnite. Okay, please tell me you didn't put it in the bedroom. Yeah, we did. Well, what's right. More on that in a moment. But it's like they go and just like Adam, and we'll hear from him in a minute. You just, they're going to fill this void with screens if they don't have in-person relationships, And that's, I think, the biggest thing of what screens has done. It's taken, separated families, if you will. Executive functioning skills, as I mentioned, planning and problem solving, focus. Kids on screens, they have a really hard time focusing. Talking about what the school wants to do with electronic devices. If you focus on something on a screen and you look away, it takes you 15 minutes to refocus. So our screen, are we learning better with screens? Probably not. Awareness, we talked about self-control, obviously self-motivation. How do we grow these executive functions? I can always tell when a scout has chores because he knows how to handle a broom. He knows how to roll up a power cord. He knows how to mop. When I hand him some cleaning fluid and a paper towel, he knows how to clean the bathroom that they all just messed up, all right? So make your bed each morning. Schedule time weekly to review a calendar. Make a to-do list the night before, Allow extra time for transitions. Choose textbooks over a screen anytime you can. Do homework same spot each day. Incorporate movement with your homework breaks. And then again, more time with those face-to-face. I brag about having 24,000 connections on LinkedIn, and I know them all. That's not true. Okay, I just like connecting with people. So, a little screen humor. It's a beautiful day. Why don't you go out and play outside? So, with a long extension cord, he takes that computer outside. But the scary thing is, we don't need an extension cord. We can take this outside with us anytime we want and look at anything we want, anywhere we want. So yeah, a little challenging. Wait, what did that say? Oh, there was my 1,000 hours outside. Okay, yeah. So some of the facts about some of the facts here. Not all screens are equal. Some are more harmful than others. Obviously TV, not quite as harmful they thought it would be. Passive versus interactive. I'll just say an important point here. I don't want to belabor these too long, but basically these are engineered, and we'll get into that a little bit. There's engineers that create these games, and they'll wire up kids to the game. They'll play the game, and they'll drop a book. If the kid looks away, they retool that part of the game so that they don't, next time when they drop the book, they don't look away. That's what we mean by interactive versus passive. It's you got to play the game. You got to do whatever you can do to get, well, you can tell me. I don't play the games. What's your name? My name is Yoshi. Yoshi? All right, you're in the front, so I'm going to pick on you a lot, okay? So you're gonna help us out, but I do need to know what 6-7 means because I hear it all the time, and I heard it doesn't mean anything. So
I don't know what it means.
Okay, I heard it doesn't mean anything. Okay. Skibbity's another one, but I'll wait on that one. Okay, so Oh, okay, good. Okay. So, all right, Dr. Victoria Dunkley will play a little video.
Screen time actually is very much like a drug. In fact, it behaves in many ways like a stimulant, not unlike caffeine or nicotine or even cocaine. So it actually raises arousal levels. And it also releases a large amount of dopamine, which is the feel-good chemical that's involved in all addictions. It actually changes electrical activity. It raises stress hormones, both the fight or flight and cortisol, the chronic stress. It disrupts the body clock, and it even shifts brain blood flow. So there's more blood flow in the primitive part of the brain and less blood flow in the higher thinking part of the brain. So when you combine all these things together, you can see how the brain is going to start to malfunction. Over time, screen time affects which pathways get paved in the brain. So the reward pathways get overdeveloped, and the other pathways in other parts of the brain are underdeveloped. And we can actually see these in brain scans. We can see there's certain parts of the brain that have atrophy or shrinkage, and in general, the brain's less connected. So screen time causes a brain to be smaller and less connected. Now, because screen time affects the part of the brain that controls mood regulation, focus, and impulse control, it can cause all sorts of problems. It can cause the child to look like they have ADHD because they can't pay attention and they're impulsive. It can make a child depressed and anxious. It can cause rages and meltdowns and even create a bipolar picture. It can make autism worse. It makes it harder to read and learn. It makes it harder for them to follow directions and to form relationships. So all of these things can be affected. So parents usually recognize that screen time has an addictive component and that it's hard to manage. But what they don't realize is that by addressing screen time, they might be resolving a whole host of other issues that aren't so obviously linked to screen time. It takes 25 years for the brain to fully mature. So it's not realistic to expect kids to learn how to manage screen time on their own. They need our help. In fact, the very part of the brain that affects self-control, the frontal lobe, is the same part of the brain that gets impaired from screen time. So what makes the most sense is to delay exposure and limit exposure as much as possible.
Yeah, that overstimulation creates a dopamine flood, and then attention issues and acquired ADHD, result. So it's science, folks. It's not, we're not making this stuff up. And that is one of the things that Melanie, when she discovered the issue with Adam, and Adam, by the way, went into the Army for 5 years. So he went cold turkey to get off and stop being addicted to screens. So it's a real journey for him. But there were no resources at that time. It was only 10 years ago. And she has created the resources here at ScreenStrong. The other thing is a lot of physical changes that can occur: eye problems, muscle weakness. The thing about the frontal cortex shutting down is just scary. My wife sees it. She works for a testing lab, formerly the Red Cross. And all these new hires that come in, and they're supposed to be testing stuff and have focus, and it's like they can't look her in can't look in the eye. They have no seeming social skills. They just kind of get done with their work. They run to their phone. It's a little scary. So behavioral changes are another aspect. Obvious things we've kind of talked about: withdrawal, quitting activities. I just want a game. That's more fun. Right? It's easier. Depression, sedentary. I don't think they have self-harm. Definitely, I think we're seeing increased obesity because gaming, watching TV, you get hungry, you want a snack, and all of a sudden you're finding candy wrappers and stuff around the screen, so around the computer. Cutting, suicide ideation, self-harm, those are all changes that are occurring as a result, so it's kind of scary. Let's talk about the teenage brain. How old are you now, Yoshi? 14. Oh, teenager, good. We've got perfect. We promise not to open you up in any way, but let's see. Here we go. There we go. Is that yours? Is that it? Yeah. This one's lower. This one's a little quiet. So.
But now we understand that brain maturation
Yeah, here, right back there.
Doesn't complete itself until about the age 25. There's been some interesting advances in brain imaging technology. 20, 30 years ago, CAT scans were about the only kind of picture you could take of the brain, and that could give you a rough idea if there was damage to the brain. Technology has moved to magnetic resonance imaging. So now it's as if we have a large, clear window so we can peer inside and see how the brain functions. The maturation process is complete the quickest at regions and centers at the back of the brain, whereas regions at the front of the brain are the last to finish this maturation process. What's at the back of the brain? It's called the cerebellum. Now that's the region of the brain that's important for physical activity, coordination, interest in recreational activities. This is one reason why teenagers tend to prefer a lot of activity. Other regions of the brain are undergoing significant development as we think about teenage behavior. The emotion center, called the amygdala. Parents are always frustrated by their teen who seems to overreact to situations. And that amygdala, which is highly sensitive during the teen years, is exerting its influence. Because the nucleus accumbens is still undergoing some significant development, it reveals a tendency in teenagers to prefer high excitement, low effort activities. So interest by teenagers in video games, for example, would make a lot of sense. The front of the brain is where the prefrontal cortex resides. This is the region of the brain very important for reasoning as well as controlling our behavior, controlling our urges and impulses.
Oops.
The cerebellum, the nucleus accumbens, and the amygdala, they tend to exert a greater influence on behavior than the reasoning part of the brain. It's a period of time where risk-taking is probably going to be at a higher base rate for that individual, where they aren't going to be thinking of the same.
Oops. Oops again. So really, bottom line, intelligence is not maturity. You know, the bigger they are doesn't mean the smarter they are. Okay, and it's basically under construction till they're 25 or more. Judgment center, which is the key to adulthood, does not get completed. New thinking skills. You know, the reward center is on overdrive. Give me something now. I want it now. So, and you can't make them mature faster. Sorry, moms, dads. It's not going to happen. But reaching out, staying connected with family, I think that's the big one. Because when they get, and I've seen it, I've heard it, they get on different online forums that they can communicate with one another. They can be anybody they want. They're less secure. They're less self-esteem, less sensitivity, and less attachment to the family, which is a big part of gaming. So when they're oriented towards their parents, you've got those rituals, the traditions, the influence, team effort, higher self-esteem, less depression, better self-control, better decisions. So all that's key. Love to hear from Buddy Abson, but we'll pass on that for now. So healthy parenting, healthy teens. When did it become a right to have a $1,000 phone? I don't know how much. Anybody know how much they are? It's like, yeah, right. Because I was just doing because $22 a month, so that's 24 months. That's $2,000 or $3,000, right? Yeah. When did we start giving 2,000 phones to our kids? It's not a right. It's a privilege. Hello. Crazy, right? But, going to be left out. And they have these big meetings. A friend of mine had a big 5th grade meeting with all the moms and dads. We're going to hold off till 6th grade. Woo! Guess what? Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, their kids never had tablets. They never had computers. They never had smartphones. The age when you should get a phone, 18. My wife works with a gal. She's got a son. He's developmentally disabled. He's 2 years old. He won't let go of the phone. Won't let go of the phone. Speaking of phones, please put your phones on stun. I don't know whose phone. Oh, that's not my phone. I have it on stun. Yeah, so it's not helping them at all. So when you're involved in this way, where you can limit them, like I said, my scouts thanked me. One of the boys had a, and I'll talk about, you don't need the internet. You can have a phone and text. You don't need the internet on a phone, okay, to stay in touch with your child. But had a boy who he messed up on his smartphone. Parents gave him a flip phone. Text and talk, right? I think only talk. But when I made the decision for the troops, said no phones on campouts, they thanked me. Because that's the time they get away. That's the time they have fun. That's the time they, fire, water, knives, okay? Peeing in the woods, come on. What more fun can you have than that? So we're going to go out there. We're not going to sit in front of the screen all day. So, just life skills and people skills, as I mentioned before. I won't belabor because I've got a lot more to cover. But I tell you, how many, you guys have chores at home? What's your chores? Everybody else forgets, right? Wow, good. You don't want that cat eating one of your parents when they fall over or something, right? You got to take care of that cat. How about you, Yoshi?
Do my own laundry.
Okay. Impressive.
Do trash.
Okay.
Weeding sometimes.
Yeah. I have a little exercise where I show guys how to make fire starter out of dryer lint. And most of the guys are, what's dryer lint? Where's that come? Where'd that come from? You go, ask your mom. So, those life skills. That's really the alternative to gaming. So, let's play a short bit of this with Adam. Then I'm going to move on to some other stuff. This is Adam. He was the reason ScreenStrong was founded.
Slow kind of change over time. It's like the frog getting boiled. What happens is like your reality shifts, and what happens is it more turns into like the game is playing you instead of you playing the game, because the game is your new world and everything outside of the game is fake. And it's just like a pain to have to go like, oh my gosh, I have to go eat, like I can't believe that I have to like leave my world and go do something else in this other whatever dull world that doesn't give me the massive dopamine hits that the video game does, because that's really what it is. I mean, there's nothing that exists that's natural that's going to give you that level of dopamine, because it's a drug. Like that's what people I think don't really realize. Like heroin doesn't make you high, your brain makes you high. It just either excites or inhibits certain things in your brain. I mean, your brain has all this stuff in it to make you high. So I mean, that's just what it is. It's just it's a drug addiction, and that's basically what it was. It's all the signs. I had to hide it. I was feeling bad. I was feeling sorry for myself. I couldn't do anything. Obviously, I stayed in my room for a whole week and didn't even leave. That's just what it was. It was just, depressed. It's just a drug addiction. And it's that, again, that's the best way that I can describe it, is it really is, like, you got to try to understand, like, to people that are addicted to video games, like, the real world isn't the real world.
Scary. It's from the horse's mouth. And not, I got some stats here. 1 in 8 gamers are addicted. Just like everybody drinks alcohol, isn't necessarily addicted to alcohol. But for those that are, it's an addiction. And it's just like alcohol or anything else. Food, work. I've been there. Video games, they really, they've changed a whole lot. A lot of killing, a lot of shooting. Fortnite, the goal is to be the last person alive. Grand Theft Auto, glamorized depiction of crime, greed, and violence. Just a real quick, this is Fortnite. It's not a cartoon, okay? He's running around shooting people. Parents understand that young children do not always distinguish fantasy from reality. So, it's enough. That's all I can handle. Okay. That's Fortnite. That's Fortnite.
Oh, you guys have no idea.
I have a couple extra flyers. I have one on Fortnite. If your children are playing Fortnite, they really need not to be. Yeah. So there's I think I have a Fortnite up here.
And then imagine how many kids in the young ages that are just doing that for the hours a day that are, and this is our world.
There's a Fortnite one. Yeah. Scary. So.
As a kid this age, I can totally relate. Like half is being too nice. Like 3 out of 4 kids are addicted to Roblox in my grade.
They're addicted. What is that?
It's Roblox.
That's when you play on the cell phone mostly. Yeah.
Is that when?
You're talking another language.
Like a Fortnite?
It's not even aggressive, right? It's small, and you're doing like little activities and running into rooms and doing things, but it's just highly addictive. And the one thing they do is they make it so like you can't leave the game.
Yeah.
There's a reason, because my son will say it. I can't leave.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
I need more money. I gotta buy stuff.
Some of these are like really criminal.
Yeah.
I was playing one for like an event or something, and then as soon as I tried to leave, a quote unquote free gift popped up if I didn't leave.
Sounds like Kohl's. They keep sending my wife Kohl's cash. Right? I $10. I gotta go. Sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I take that back. Yeah. It's not the same thing, right? Yeah. I'm back. Persuasive design. I've already talked about it. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about that. I want to get on to some other things. Some of the dark side of gaming, just what we were talking about now, but also cyberbullying, online predators. They're there. They're waiting to come out. Pornography, gambling. Talk a little bit about pornography in just a moment. Warning signs. Okay, this is important. Games almost every day. Plays for long periods of time. Main source of entertainment. Sacrifices social activities for gaming. I'd rather play a game than do anything else. Tries to get down playing but can't. Seems to be losing interest in real life activities. My wife's former boss, her son, was addicted to gaming, and he was homeless. He actually went to Chicago to be homeless in the winter. Got arrested and spent a little jail time for loitering, whatever. But if he had his laptop, he would be on the games, and he was, in real life, he was overweight. He was not all that attractive, this and that. But in the game, he was who he could, anybody he wanted to be. And he was this person. He just wanted a game. For many years, several years, until into his 20s, and just took a while, but finally got back with his dad. Dad helped out, got him into therapy. But I mean, that's a severe end of the spectrum there, but it's out there, and you got to listen to those warning signs. So big mistakes, starting too young, making access easy. How many have gaming in the home? Anybody? How many is the console in the bedroom? In the child's bedroom? Is it out? Well, is the phone in the child's bedroom? Okay, yeah, needs to come out of the bedroom or turned off at night. They have mesh networks. You can turn off your router at night, right? One of my scout moms was so upset her son, he wasn't going to scouts tonight, and he was angry at her, and she was angry at him because he stayed up all night gaming. I said, well, why don't you just turn off the router? Lock it up. Oh, I couldn't do that because there's other people in the household. They had to use, no. Mesh network, okay, come on, listen to yourself. Can you hear yourself? Using gaming as a reward, that's a big, using games to shelter kids, the new babysitter. coolest hour spent on content viewed. I'm a little guilty there. I kind of like reels. I kind of get addicted to them. 20 minutes goes by and I'll never have it back again. So for boys especially, you know, they need a creative outlet, physical activity, the tribe, you know, scouting. Hello. All right, I'm going to move on. I'll try to keep this adult as much as possible, but pornography, it really makes it hard to understand the negative effect. Not something anybody wants to really talk about. I'm just going to share some stats at this point. A pornography magazine has approximately 100 magazine images to see. A smartphone has as many as millions of pornographic images. And I'm just going to, first time viewing porn, 6 to 8 years old. The problem with that is they're seeing things they don't know what they are or what they mean or what, you know? So, and there's too much of that. And with social media as well, there's too much out there that they see. They don't know what it means, don't know how to handle it. Smaller screen means more porn. 100% of kids with smartphones will view more porn than kids without smartphones. Duh, right? It's too easy. Dopamine goes through the roof, right? Humans learn by imitating what they see. Sexually explicit material triggers these mirror neuron images. So it's an image that lasts a lifetime. They can call upon it at any time and revisit, just like a microchip. The idea is to keep that porn library empty. Just some, the old commercial. Here's your brain. Here's your brain on drugs. Here's your brain. Here's your brain on heroin. Here's your brain on porn. Same exact effect that heroin has on the brain. Right? Okay, the next one is really hard to read. I'm just going to read a few of these. I have these as well, and these are all on our website. So, videos taken down by Pornhub in 2023 when asked to verify their age. 10 million. I have this on a flyer for y'all. Anybody wants that after this? That means 10 million underage individuals, or of age individuals that didn't want to share their age, were asked to verify their age. 88% of porn scenes contain aggression. How many hours does it take to be exposed to porn after getting a smartphone? Ding, ding, ding. 75 hours. 86% of porn is watched on smartphones. Are we seeing a pattern here? 27 hours, that's what it takes from creating teen social media account to targeted that account with graphic content. So a teenager opens up an account within 27 hours, they may be targeted with graphic content. In the top 10 of Pornhub's most searched terms for the last 6 years is teen. Every second, this is really scary, 28,000 users are watching pornography on the internet. $3,000 is being spent on pornography. That's every second. $3,000 is being spent on pornography. Every second, 327 people are typing the word adult. All right. You get the picture. Porn, not good. And it's, I got controls, okay, but what happens when somebody sends your son something? Or they're with a bunch of other kids that don't have filters on their phone. Hey, look at this. Girls are in Scouting America now. They're actually in every country. It's co-ed besides America. So in 2019, they came in, and there were some real changes. There were some instant troops of girls because they were younger sisters of brothers who were in Scouting. So they wanted to be in, and they wanted to enjoy the camping and stuff. But I was walking by a table of looked like middle schoolers, 12 or 13, and they were talking about some girls on their phones. And I just stopped and I said, okay, guys, all you guys have sisters? Yeah. Would you talk about your sister that way, or would you let anybody else talk about your sister that way? No, no. I said, also, 2 tables over is a group of girls in a girl troop. Do you think they want to hear that kind of stuff? No. It's just, yeah. So again, where's porn? Anywhere there's an internet connection.
It's on Google Maps.
Google Maps? Really? How?
Porn places, porn.
Invite you.
Yeah.
They'll invite you. They'll show you a little picture or something.
Yeah. So video games, guest and incognito modes, private browsing, social media. I mean, my own granddaughter sent a full frontal nude picture of herself to a boy that she liked, so he would like her when she was 13. And of course, my son was like, crap, I shouldn't have given their phones at 10. They all had smartphones at 10. So, and I know we've heard, sexting at schools and stuff. And yeah, so that was the thing. If you want to get a boy to like you, send him a picture. He just about, yeah, she's still alive, but man. But it's out there. I mean, so again, you can have a phone, you don't need an internet connection. You want to keep track of them? Okay, So really having, you have to have that conversation. They don't, the conversations don't work necessarily, but conversations alone, parental controls alone, balance alone, don't work. Okay, they're going to find it, they're going to look for it, they're going to get it. All right, conversations plus removing access is what works. Okay, using filters on all family devices, co-viewing healthy content. So give them a balance in that. So, yeah. I want to move on. We're going to definitely run out of time. I don't need you to tell me about the birds and bees. I downloaded it all from the internet. So we don't want that. Back in my day, we had our older brothers. They told us about stuff, but don't always have that these days. So no big families. I'm going to move forward a bit just because it is almost 7:30. I didn't want to go too much past an hour on all this, but if you want me to stop at any time, just we've had enough already. Smartphones and social media. This is a real struggle, especially now with AI, and there's even more false information out there. So again, what's the best age to get a smartphone? We say 18, because by then the brain has developed some of those frontal functions that will help to make them successful in life. So there is a Gab phone. I'll talk more about that in a minute. It's a talk and text. You don't need the internet to have a phone and I gotta text them. I gotta know when they come. When they go. No, you don't. You can do that, and there's phones that do that. I used to sell them. Well, I also sold pagers, but those are gone now. So right. How many remember BlackBerry? Who had a BlackBerry? What was the nickname of the BlackBerry? Crackberry. Yeah, why? Oh man, I'm all day long and there's games on this thing, and I was addicted to it. So you get a little ping. Oh, I got another email. Gotta look. Social media is not for teens. It's not healthy entertainment. It's not. They're going to develop rare life skills as a result, and you're really not going to make friends that way. You're really not. And it's. I don't know what changed out there, but it really did. Of course, I had 5 brothers and 4 sisters, so if we wanted to do anything, we never did. Watch cartoons a little Saturday morning, then we're outside. We're in the river, we're in the creek, we're down the hills, riding horses, riding whatever. So adolescence is really the worst age for social media. They're trying to develop their own identity. They're trying to, who am I? What am I? They're influenced easily by things. They're losing social skills. Pain of rejection's high. I mean, peer pressure, high risk taking. The family relationships really, really break down. And the biggest thing with, I'll give you a new word, Where'd it go? Yeah, there's a new word out there. It's called FOMO, fear of missing out. So I talked about, I think his name's Tom Kessling, talked about teenage boys being diagnosed with ADD, ADHD. One afternoon, he had a girl come in and had to talk her off the ledge. She was hysterical. And it took him a while to get her to stop crying and screaming, to find out she was upset because she just learned her best friend was going out with another girl in their circle, and she was afraid she was going to lose her best friend. All right? Yeah. So it never stops, like the bullying and all that. It just, you can't just leave school and not be affected by it, because it's there. And once something happens and it's online, it's always there. So it's just, what they're seeing is increased anxiety and depression, disordered eating, poor sleep quality. Looking at that screen at night before you go to bed really changes things. It affects your sleep. And the attention span really, really decreases from using social media. Girls, 1 to 5 teen girls have experienced major depression. Suicide is at a 50-year peak. I believe we had a suicide in the school district last year. Was it a boy? I think, yeah, bullied. So, it's just not good stuff. Oh, Tom Kirsting. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's him. Disconnected. Right down our website, I've got some flyers here. Do it. ScreenStrong.com. They have a tremendous bookstore. I mean, and all the things I'm talking about. This video, by the way, the slide deck is available for training purposes. I'm available to come out to your groups and speak. There's a cost to it because a lot of money went into, I think it's $195. There's a QR code on the bottom. If you put in my code, BDR, what is it, BDR20? It's on the BDR22. Yeah, that'll give you a little discount on some of these materials. I'm going to skip this. I'm going to skip this. This is actually it's a Dove commercial where she becomes bulimic, and they go through her whole life and as a little girl, and when she becomes bulimic, and then it's kind of sad. And yeah, warning signs obviously attached to the phone all day. My neighbor is so upset. It's his grandfather's grandson, and he's like trying to put on his pants with one hand and hold on to the phone and look at it with the other. And it's like, okay. Do they get anxious when they don't have the phone in their hand? Any adults get anxious. If I told you to bring your phones up and turn them off, would you get anxious? Probably. I had an adult leave my presentation because he came in, set up his computer, was going to keep working while I talked about screen addictions. I said, all right, a scout is obedient. Put all your electronic devices on the table. He walked out. I got up. I finished and I looked at him. Yo, where you going, Ken? Okay. See ya. Yeah. So, and again, the phone is just bringing you into all kinds of social media activity, as well as the texting, and just really interferes. And it's kind of sad. It was great when my scouts were like 11 and 12 and 13. They didn't have smartphones yet. And all of a sudden, as soon as they get them, it's like, boom, they're on them. I got to take them away, put it away, give it to me, send this home. So basically, some suggestions there. Girls, they obviously need, journaling, girlfriends, physical activity. I got a little time for screens in schools, and we'll wrap this up. Any questions so far? Because I don't want to be rushing at the end, and you got something poignant you want to hear. Yes? No? No? Okay.
I'll just say that I have an example of the kids' work-through book that if anybody wants to look at that, you're welcome.
Thanks.
This is for actually the team to learn and work through. So
yeah. We now have.
My son has not worked through.
Still on it. Yes, the amount of there's actually how many notebooks? I think there's 4 now. Okay. Also for tots, for younger, and then I think that one's middle school, and then so we basically changed the language. Instead of porn, it's pink elephant for the younger kids, or just it's age appropriate in terms of providing this information, and they're available to the schools. There's complete school syllabus on ScreenStrong. In fact, I'm working to develop a merit badge for ScreenStrong because they do have a 7-day detox, which is like a perfect requirement for screen addiction is to detox for 7 days. And if you can do that, you get the badge. So working on that. But paper books versus screens, it's deep reading. You're using all your senses. I'm actually getting into audio books a little bit. I've had a couple of books that it was really fun to listen to them because sometimes when I'm reading, I want to skip over all the fluff and get to the plot line, but it's kind of nice to hear it. I can do it when I'm doing other things. All this is, I know you're asking for some of this, Mike, but better comprehension, better spatial memory, better concentration. Again, you get in on a screen and you look up and you're 15 minutes to get back to it. A lot of multitasking goes on, so they say they're listening, but then they're on their phones. So again, as I said, it takes 15 minutes to get back on track. Long-term memory is affected. Efficiency drops about 40%. Mentally fatiguing to make quick adjustments. In other words, the mind's just not working as quickly as, that I don't know, I still love paper and pencil, paper and pen, when it comes to writing things. Really, we're pretty much a component of getting phones out of the school. They do impede learning. The boys are distracted. They're always looking at something stupid, the beast. And they want to, it's like, what's out there? Well, all these people making millions of dollars and all they're doing is showing their fingernails or something. It's like, the Kardashians, please. Yeah. So, ideally more note-taking, no smartphones on school day, use textbooks. I mean, I still love to turn the pages of a book, man. I don't, even though I'm kind of doing the audiobook, that was kind of fun. But things you can do to impact your school. Screen School is a book by John Clement. Introduce your school administration to ScreenStrong. Thank you, Michael. We're working on that, right? Go to our resource page, samples of phone policies from other schools around the country. And other schools are doing this. They are eliminating screens. They're getting rid of the laptops. Thank you, Microsoft, but not now. We have numerous educational materials, courses available for parents and students. And we'll come out and do a half-day workshop or more. So we have the technology we will rebuild, I can assure you. So, yeah. So our solutions are 3 or 4-fold. Building healthy families, eliminating toxic screens, developing those life skills. I mean, that's what I do. I mean, I use my powers for good. I mold those minds, but life skills: pitch a tent, cook a pancake, build a fire, hike, see bears, see 4-foot timber rattlers crawling through your campsite. That's memories. That's a true story, by the way. One of the boys is like, it's crawling, we're all, okay, stay back, guys, stay back. And the little guy comes up and goes, man, it would be really cool if we could get that snake to strike. I go, no, we don't want it to strike. It's not going to happen. So I think the biggest thing, too, is those life skills, authentic relationships, developing those authentic relationships. And our science-based recommendations is this: no phones for toddlers, no really elementary, no video games or smartphones, middle school, high school, no video games or smartphones. We're really saying age 18 is the appropriate time for a smartphone.
Did you make a change on that? I heard you were doing this for 10 years. I thought it was wait till 8 for a long time, but it sounds like maybe that was a different word.
18.
Or did they change it?
No, it was, they've always, I'm not sure who did that, but that was like middle schoolers were like, well, wait till 8th grade.
Yeah.
So, and I know one of my friends was involved with that, and they took a vote, said, okay, we're going to wait till 8. And it was catchy. It was catchy. Yeah, no, it's not. It wasn't. So, really even college age, no video games. So that's tough when they go away. So, really, we have so many resources available. Leading is like a coach, loving with leadership. Hit the pause button. remove harmful screens. Chores and hobbies, that's a big one. Scouting, please. I'm a good example, right? Please. I've been scout 60 years. Felt like a lot longer. But, and, you know, they can stand out from the crowd. I mean, the boy that had the flip phone, he was like, so what? I got a flip phone. What do you got? You know, it's like, and your phone's gone. So, you know, but I'm going to play this last video and then we'll just kind of wrap up. Success story.
And we said, how can you help us? We have teenage kids. All we're doing is arguing about these things. We really don't even know what it's doing to them. We don't know anything about what the brain, we don't know any of that stuff. All we know is what we're seeing physically, we don't like.
When I think back to when we were sitting in restaurants and we just thought, we want to be able to talk. We want to be able to, like, especially if you're with other adults, you think, I want to be able to enjoy this conversation and not have my kid be bored.
But what happens is it just creeps into everyday life so quickly that you really don't even see it coming.
The fact that Bill Gates and all of those tech gurus don't allow their children to use these and that they send them to schools that purposefully don't tells me everything.
So we pretty much thought we knew what we were doing. We, handed a phone to school on a birthday, said, here you go, we're going to have restrictions. We didn't just, or it wasn't a free-for-all, so we kind of felt like we had control over it. We would check it, but the problem is, once you give your child the phone, there's really no going back.
And what we really lost was presence. And that power of presence with your kids.
I feel like I'm really grateful that ScreenStrong was introduced to us pretty early in Harper's life, but I am sad that when I think of those first couple of years when we just thought, well, we're all going on a road trip or we were going to a restaurant and that's what we thought we needed to do. A lot of times we think we're doing the right thing by giving the screen and helping them be entertained, and it's just important for us to be educated and hear what the outcome is when kids just get addicted to these things. I think as adults it's hard enough for us to not become addicted to them, so it's just even worse if it starts at such a young age.
It's not a restriction so much as it is a replacement. When you're taking the phone away, you're actually replacing it with some amazing things. I find that they will, 9 times out of 10, go outside. They will find something to do. They will play basketball. They love to swing on the swings.
And I truly feel like there are mood changes that I see happen, even if it's just watching a TV show. If we will start it in the morning, like if we give them a show on a Saturday morning, I see a mood change every single time. And so we just weren't made for all of this screen time, and they can learn all of these amazing skills by not being on the screen, and it's okay to let them be bored.
What ScreenStrong did for us was a complete paradigm shift about what's happening in the brains, the brain science behind all of this. And knowing that really just kind of firmly more cements our resolve to take good care of our kids when it comes to the screens.
I'll fully acknowledge that my home might be a little bit neater if we did iPads. We definitely have a lot of crafts and a lot of paper and cardboard boxes, and but when I think about the benefit, it's so worth it. It's been really cool to see the way their minds can work if we give them the chance.
Since we've had ScreenStrong into our lives and Melanie's really been involved, we've got presence back in the lives of our kids, and it's been an amazing fruit that's come from this.
I try to look at the long-term goal here, and I think that in the end, you'll never regret limiting screens. It'll never be something that you regret.
True. So I guess the bottom line is, would you give your child keys to your SUV or car without, you gotta get a license, and yet you're gonna give them this? this gets them one thing. This gets them the world. So, you know, give it some thought. So ScreenStrong is really here for you. There's courses, there's communities on our ScreenStrong Connect. You also find support if you're struggling with something, and there's a group out there that's designed to just help you with that. We've got several educational books out now. The parent edition, the student edition, Kids, Brains, and Screens. So Screen Education, there's three workbooks now. Several student courses are available for the schools. Connect with the community, connect with the education that's available. Melanie offers a podcast. You can access all of this from ScreenStrong.com. Just in the time I've been involved, I was not as active a couple years back, and I came back in and I was like, oh my God. She called me, hey, can you edit the workbook? We're trying to get it to publish. So they're constantly looking and trying to get information available to you. The Gab phone, the Gab text, filtering protection from Canopy, our ambassador program, if you're interested at all. My card's up here. I was telling Michael I wasn't sure which card to put out, my Scout card or my Chamber card or my what I do for a living card, which is home mortgages. But my email's on there. If you want any additional information, if you'd like me to come speak to your group, if you've got a PTA group or a group of concerned folks, school boards, I'm available. And the ambassador program is available too. If you find what I've been doing here today interesting and would like to get involved, it's a lot of fun and meet a lot of neat folks. Gab wireless. It's you get I think there's a 20% off, 25 off the first order, right? So use the code word STRONG, and it's Gab wireless. Zero internet, social media, and games. Geez, going back in time, back in my day. And so, you talk about telling scary stories around the campfire. I tell about when I didn't have the internet and we didn't have cell phones and streaming was with an oar and a boat, and you had to really talk to people. You want to play a game, go out and find someone to play a game with. So, and at the end, I'd pull out a flip phone, and that would be they were scared, Mommy, go. So, Canopy's great for filtering properly. Again, a code STRONG for 20% off a subscription. And they're always looking for donations. That's why materials do cost the book, but it's all available. You can purchase it online. This slide deck is copyrighted. I know somebody, that's fine, take some pictures. I got some handouts. But the whole slide deck is available as a presentation for a larger group or a day-long group or half-day group or whatever. So it's so necessary today. I mean, there's a comedian out there that talks about, our grandparents in the future. Now when you talk to grandma, there's a picture of Charles Lindbergh crossing the Atlantic, What are grandparents going to be like in the future? Oh, here's 12 pictures of me eating lunch, It's like that kind of stuff. So it is an epidemic. It's a pandemic. It's a challenge because it's kind of a necessary evil. You can't kill it. You don't want to. I mean, everything's on my phone, when it comes to stuff. So, but we can balance it. And I think that's the bottom line. We have to figure out a way to balance it. It's there. It's a tool, and use it as a tool, but, hold off with the kids and wait till they're old enough to deal with it. So otherwise, no more cocaine out there. Give it to them. Yes.
So, in order, like, if you did want to get it, like at your church or at a school board, is it different prices, like to have ScreenStrong come, or was it $195?
If you wanted to purchase the slide deck,
okay.
that's $100.
Is there a cost, like if we were to have you to come?
No, actually, I'm volunteering. This is my volunteer time. This is my give back to the community, just like I do with scouting. So my wife asked me to say, why Troutman? Don't they know anybody else? I guess they couldn't find anybody. No, actually, I gave a presentation. With a couple of girls were doing a project. Not very much. It was in Mooresville, I think, Mike, that they had to have a speaker come in to talk about screens. So I came in. It was kind of fun. It was the 5th grade. Whew! It's a noisy group. So the whole 5th grade, and we had some exercises, and we kind of went through some of the screen. But no, ambassadors will come out. If you want a workshop, there may be an additional, anything longer than what I'm doing tonight, and then if you're interested in becoming an ambassador, and then to purchase the deck using my code gives a little discount on the code, on the deck. But all this, it used to be 60 slides a couple years ago, and then they've added some more video that I kind of skipped through, but all the science is there, all the research is there. Their bookstore online has a plethora of books of the top scientists that have been studying this now. Now we've had time to study this. I mean, it's scary to think that really all my scouts, let's see, 2010, because they're 11 when they start. So pretty much, for the last 10 years almost, they were born in the internet. I mean, my daughter's, she's 40 now. My stepson's 52. They didn't have, just started having cell phones, handheld cell phones. But all my scouts grew up with the internet. They don't know, and landline. My daughter's never had a landline, but it's like, anybody know what a landline is? It's connected to the wall, and you couldn't go anywhere. You had to wait for that call to come back. So it's a brave new world, but I'm not sure how much better it is. I mean, it's a tool and it's helpful. AI now is a little scary because there's even more fake stuff out there. But yeah. So, anything else I can answer? Or yes, sir.
Does the website post like upcoming presentations in the region?
I'll check. I'm not sure it does. I think the community, if you log in and get involved with the community, it would. I'm going to ask that. That's a good question. Yes. Well, no, they got off Facebook. There were some issues. Is it? They're using. We have a ScreenStrong circle, so that has activities in it, and you can join that from the website. But I'll.
So ScreenStrong Families is just like it's a network, so it's just a place that you can join, and
Yeah.
So it's still there.
It is okay.
Yeah, okay. It's like a group, you can share that you're doing this and you're with other parents.
There was a reason, and Melanie told me the reason she got off of that. There were some reasons they got off it, but it's right there. Screen talking about. There's yeah, I know. Like now, I get this ScreenStrong circles, so that may be a little more information there. So I'll find out. Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
questions?
You've been a great audience. I really appreciate the time
Yeah,
and
thank
interest.
you. And just
Thank you for coming.
so, as from my perspective as a school board member and being involved in public education, I kind of look at it like this. What you've heard tonight from Brady and I've read this. I'm reading this book called Glow Kids by Nicholas Carteris. It's he's a PhD behavioral psychologist with a specialty in addiction, drug addiction, but also this screen addiction. And it's an actual very easy book to read. And a lot of what Brady covered tonight are topics in this book. In fact, that one Victoria Dunkel, Dr. Victoria Dunkel, is in this book where he talks about different studies she's done. So it's very fascinating that he's talking about education. And a couple of things to realize that us as adults, we're processing things way different than children. And in fact, though, if you were sitting here tonight and you were taking notes on a laptop for what Brady was saying, you will have less retention of what he said if you had a notebook and you were actually taking notes. There you go. So
it's a gold star.
So when I hear things like from people in the school system that say, well, you know, we've got these computers and the laptops because your children can have more individualized instruction. Well, the experts will tell you that direct teacher-led interactive instruction has much more learning retention than a kid being on an iPad. And those educational programs, you'll hear the educator say, well, they're just like games. Well, like Brady is saying, and Dr. Carteris goes into this, that talked about that dopamine rush where they wire the kids up, like Brady said, if the blood pressure doesn't get to 140 or above, then they redo the game to make it so it is. And so they do the same thing with these educational games. And so then when it's time to take the laptop or the iPad away from the child, they have behavioral problems.
Yep.
And they go into withdrawal. And that whole dopamine thing talked about the military having veterans come back with a lot of injuries, not brain injuries, but well, PTSD, but physical injuries and burns that require serious medication, narcotics for pain management. Well, the Navy and the Army experimented with using gaming for pain management, and it was very successful. So they sort of got, they didn't sort of get the military veterans hooked on gaming, but they demonstrated through gaming, it gave them that dopamine rush that actually reduced pain in these severely wounded veterans. So that's really weird. But
there's also scholarships now for gaming,
right,
for gamers.
So I would recommend this book. It's called Glow Kids.
Great book, yeah.
By Nicholas Carteris. And if you go to his website, if you just type in Nicholas Carteris and you search for it, he's got 3 videos on the middle of the website, and there are 3 videos of a child that they get so violent when they're forced to give up being on the computer or the gaming, and he treats those kids as addiction, just like they were hooked on morphine or cocaine or something like that.
You don't argue with a drunk.
Right. And referenced in his brief was Jonathan Haidt, who wrote this book, Anxious Generation. Yeah. And it's really talking about all the social social media and the mental health issues. Yeah. And I had a town hall, I'll close here briefly. I had a town hall last year, and 2 counselors from one of the schools was there telling me about all the mental health problems going on in one of our high schools. I spoke with an assistant principal recently, and he told me that one of the things he's focusing on, this is a middle school, of all the stunted interpersonal growth of these kids, they can't talk to each other, yet they're sitting there texting to each other all day long. And they have these stunted and interpersonal skills that
they don't develop.
Yeah. And he's dealing with that. Yep. And yet, the school system goes and seeks a $17 million grant to hire behavioral therapists to deal with mental health of our students. So we get this grant for $17 million over 5 years to treat our kids, yet give me $5 more million to buy more iPads for that individual instruction. Who's looking out for your kids, right? Or your grandkids?
Maybe you have some numbers, or Brady, with having worked in the community college system directly at the front desk, you could always tell an individual when they came through that door, the way they handled themselves, the way they spoke, their manners, everything, between a homeschool student and a public school student, and the public school student was more geared to attached to their technology, where the homeschool students were less. They wouldn't even pull their phone out the whole time you talked to them. But the public school students, because I guess they have more freedom, and not the direct supervision.
Right.
Y'all have numbers where you can show how this technology and the effect it's having, how it's affecting Adam, I think, was one victim.
Well, it's we definitely have it. I know Melanie's getting some additional data on the schools that are starting to ban laptops, etc. But to your point, I have a lot of homeschool kids in scouting because they want that social interaction. And one family, the Alf family, we swear they're free-range kids. They hit the woods and their shoes come off. They watch documentaries. They don't watch the regular TV. He just got a cell phone. Now, his older brother, they had some real issues with it. And even though they were all homeschooled, and I started sending his mom the ScreenStrong stuff, but sometimes sometimes there's this weird disconnect with parents. Like the dad that said, yeah, we got him Fortnite and put the game in his bedroom. Dude. And I sent him stuff on Fortnite, and I said, but it was like a deer in headlight. Something didn't connect. And even my son, until his daughter, sent that photo, was like, dude, you're giving them phones too early. They're on Facebook. They're sharing all their information.
Yeah.
I had to call up my granddaughter and say, take off your birth date. It's like people come after you. Yes, sir.
So I understand the gaming. I understand how the education it's turned into gaming. How about screen time, just like Kindle's books electronically? I mean, what type of research or what have you learned about that?
Well, again, the research is saying wait. And reading a book is a little different than playing a game. And that's the real issues come in because of the way a book isn't predictively engineered. They don't wire you up, and if your blood pressure doesn't go up or if you drop a book, so it's a little different. But the thing with screens is also the lighting and the colors.
Yeah.
And looking at them before you go to bed can interrupt proper sleep.
Yeah.
So that's what some of the research is showing. But as far as the Kindle in and of itself, I think you retain better with a book. You retain better.
And the doctor here will also tell you that your retention in reading something on a screen versus reading it in printed materials will be less.
Even for adults.
Even for adults.
Yeah.
And I catch myself doing this. So I'm on my phone reading news articles. And it's that dopamine thing. I feel, and you're just trying to get to the end of the article so that you're to the next one.
And it never ends.
And you're not reading it, and you're skipping over parts.
You're hitting the headlines and that.
So you're even getting sucked into this. So, and I'm an engineer. I'm a technology guy. I'm not a Luddite, if you will. I'm not. But I think what this whole the iPad was invented in 2006, I think 2006 or 7.
Yeah, that sounds about.
Okay, and he wrote this book in 2016. So 9 years, I think, after the iPad was invented, and so that was really you're just starting having K through 5 probably really starting by that time using it, and it's gotten worse. It's gotten worse. So,
it's all about balance. I mean, a deep fried Twinkie tastes great, but how many can you eat? I mean,
right.
I got back from a camp out once, and Krispy Kreme were 2 dozen for price of one, and I sat down after hiking all day. And
so
ate 6.
if you're a parent or grandparent, pay attention to what's going on in your schools, and at least from my perspective, I would love to see more direct teacher-led instruction. I'd like to see more pen and paper instruction. I'd like to see less dependency on the electronics. The state we passed a law, the state legislature passed a law in July that not only for cell phones are supposed to be turned off, inactive, put away, not seen during the school day. And we just, in Iredell-Statesville School, we passed the policy last month that goes from bell to bell, from start to finish, cell phones are put away, period, for K through 5 and for middle school, period. If it's seen or taken out, then discipline kicks in. And then we had several high school principals plead with us to allow students to use their cell phones over lunchtime.
Glad with you for that.
Yes. So without boring you with a lot of details, we allowed that, we put that in the policy. But you know, I fear now if I go into a high school and sit in the cafeteria at lunchtime, I'm going to see a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
And we need kids talking to each other at school. We do. Huh?
Yeah,
What?
probably.
Why at lunch?
They felt that, well, one reason was that it was going to be too hard to manage that when you have a cafeteria filled with 300 kids in it. It was going to be a discipline nightmare and having to manage that. That was one reason. Another reason was, well, kids have jobs after school and they need to talk to employers, blah blah blah, or they need to do more adult things and they can do that during the lunch hour, like you might do during your lunch hour.
The average is.
So I did ask them to come back to us in the spring toward the end of the school year and give us a report on how it's gone.
So no chance they would ever say kids leave their phones at home.
No, it's the parents.
There's no chance of that?
That's a difficult road to hoe.
Yeah.
And in fact, see, it's really the parents. The parents are really the big problem, especially from K through 8.
Yeah.
Number one, because parents want to be able to reach their kid during the school day, which is the wrong answer. We need to be able to get hold of our kid during an emergency. That's a wrong answer because during a lockdown, the kids are, nobody's supposed to be, it's supposed to be quiet. And if you have a shooter or an active shooter event, do you want 200 kids texting and calling 911 saying the bad guy's over here when the bad guy might be over here?
I do want to play devil's advocate on this. We're a parental rights organization, so we do believe in parental rights. And our schools are not the same schools that we grew up in.
Okay.
So some of our students are catching teachers doing wrong things and getting screenshots, or there's bullying. There's really bad things that go on in our schools. So I, even as a parent, I totally understand parents wanting their kids to have their phones just in case there's an
That makes
emergency,
sense.
just to share that.
And
Right, the world is so awful.
It is different.
and by the way, I've actually participated in 2 lockdown events over the last couple of weeks at a school to watch how they do it. And one thing that you should know is that during that actual emergency, while the police are responding and stuff like that, and the kids are not supposed to be communicating. But then once the event is over, that before you can be reunited with your child, it might take 4 or 5 hours for that to actually happen, because roads get secured. There could be medical people coming in, and then they have to. There's a reunification plan that will take place, but it may not take place at that school. They may move all the kids to some other place for that reunification to take place. So it's not just, oh, the emergency's over with and now pick up your kid.
Yeah.
It may take 3, 4, 5 hours for that to happen. So, just parents need to understand that,
I don't know if there's
can't
been.
have kids on the.
I don't know if there's been research on. I don't ever remember school shootings growing up.
Nope. Nope. No, all we feared was
So-
the nuclear bomb from Soviet
Yeah,
Union.
you have to go and put your head between your knees and hope it doesn't hit.
I
And
think it has something to do with these and the video gaming.
Yeah.
The kids are
I do.
obsessed with it, and they're
Yeah.
not developing their brains, and they're
and
glorifying
and
violence.
there's just a disconnect.
acting out.
even with parents, it's like when a parent says, "Oh, he didn't want to come to Scouts. We're waiting to see what he wants to do." This is a 12-year-old. Like, who's the parent here? I'm sorry. I raised two. I raised a teenager first, so I highly recommend you have a teenager first, my stepson, and before you have a toddler. But so I talk about it to groups to feel better.
So I really appreciate y'all coming out, and
thank you.
For those of you with kids and grandkids, I appreciate you coming out, taking an active interest. Anytime a parent that contacts a school board member or the school because they're worried about or wanting to advocate for the child in any way, that's great. We don't have enough parents that are involved in their child's education, in my opinion, because there aren't enough people. We don't hear from enough people, unless they're all happy. But I can tell you, there's a lot that needs. There's a lot of good going on. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of things that the more parents are involved in your child's education, the more successful your child will be in school. That is a fact. That is a fact. So, any other final questions for Brady? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have fun. Thank you.